Okay, imagine this. You are just starting out in the gym and you are an absolute twig. You don't know how anything works and you see all these guys lifting about 10 times as much as you weigh, and you want to look like them. So you try to get a good training routine in, you eat more food, and over time you gain weight slowly but surely to put on lean mass. Now imagine you're 100 pounds heavier, you're in the exact same situation and you want a good physique and to get stronger, but you have to lose weight to get in shape and you have to make drastic changes to your diet and physical activity. Well, most people tend to find the latter more difficult, and based on the fact that obesity is a much greater problem in society than being underweight or skinny, I can say for sure a lot more people can relate to the second character. But which one of these is really harder, and what are the pros and cons of looking to get into shape, starting out skinny versus starting out fat? Now, first of all, I have to mention that this is a subjective issue. Personally, I started out very skinny, but I don't have any trouble gaining weight or losing it because of how I manage my body, training, and diet. And that's likely the case with a lot of you watching this as well. If you go on a binge eating Ben & Jerry's every day, then you'll definitely gain some weight, but if you start taking the training and diet more seriously, you will definitely lose some. But since we are all pretty different, but ultimately want a final answer as to which is harder or easier, let's start off by looking at some of the pros and cons of being skinny. Take an average guy, around 180 centimeters or 5'10", and let's put him at a weight of say 60 kilos or 132 pounds, giving him a BMI of 18.5, which is barely within the range of normal. Now, first of all, this guy will have little to no muscle mass to speak of. This means you'll have a low base metabolism, aka how many calories you burn at rest, and you'll be pretty weak in absolute terms, which often causes a lot of skinny guys to be less open in a free weight area as their muscular weaknesses become pretty visible. Chances are, if you started out in the gym while skinny, you weren't pushing a lot of weights to begin with, or even perhaps a couple of months in. And if you are skinny, to get big and maintain a relatively low body fat, you'll have to consume enough calories to put you in a surplus, or at least at the higher end of maintenance, but not so many that you store a lot of unwanted body fat. But I think most people would agree that you won't have to account for a lot of dieting. Just make sure you get enough protein and calories in and you'll definitely pack on a decent amount of muscle, given that you're also training adequately hard. You'll also, generally speaking, be more agile, have better cardiovascular health than somebody who is obese, and you'll feel more energetic considering you don't have to move any excess body fat around 24/7.
Stay fucking hard!
And statistically speaking, you'll likely sleep better, which means recovery likely won't be an issue. Now take the approach of somebody starting out as obese, which is classified by the BMI scale as over 30, but for simplicity's sake, let's say we have a guy around the same height, but now he weighs twice as much as our original chap. 120 kilos or 264 pounds. And suddenly we have a BMI of 37, putting our Mr. Dude here into serious obesity. Now for starters, this guy probably won't be very physically active, which is pretty common if you've been obese for a long time. However, at twice the body weight of our skinny legend, this guy will likely have much more muscle mass and be able to lift a lot more in the beginning. Although to get his desired look, he will have to lose a ton of weight while gaining muscle, which is generally speaking a pretty difficult task. But given that this guy is also a total beginner, it is definitely doable on a solid training routine and a high protein diet. This guy will also have a much higher base metabolic rate, meaning he can lose weight while still probably eating more than his skinny counterpart, which is a plus. However, he will have to lower his calorie intake from what he's used to eating, which can come with cravings and feeling very hungry at times. So the two have very different starting points, but with a similar end goal. But can you say for sure which is harder based on these theoretical examples? Well, I'm not so sure. Let's look at a couple of real-life examples. On the left here we have Jax Fit, who has tried for well over a year to gain size, and he has gained some, just not at his desired pace. And on the right you have YouTuber Brentley G. Now both of these guys started out on the extreme opposite ends of being out of shape, but Brentley has lost close to 250 pounds over a 3-year period, while Jack has been pretty stagnant for the last 6 months or more. So why has Brentley made so much progress while Jack hasn't? Surely that just means losing weight can be easier. Well, not exactly. Now, not only do I think Brentley is more dedicated to improving himself than Jack is, at least based on their social media, but Brentley also worked alongside a coach, while Jack tried doing everything on his own. And it wasn't that Jack didn't have the opportunity to have somebody work with him, it's more that he didn't want to, which comes down to a personal choice. But unlike Brentley, Jack was always willing to find some excuse for why he didn't gain weight, and he never really seemed to put in as much work to change that.
So for the past week now, I've kind of been quite sick, meaning I've not been eating, I've kind of been losing my gains, and I've been losing weight.
Often getting sidetracked and doing collabs with OnlyFans chicks. Brentley, on the other hand, was so impressed by the new things he was able to do after just losing a few pounds that he kept his momentum going because he actually wanted to improve for the sake of himself. So work ethic is definitely something to keep in mind, although it is very difficult to come up with a conclusion based on how people look, because work ethic and drive to succeed is widely individual. And it may be that because weight loss tends to be more visually apparent than weight gain, those who lose weight may see their results far better and get an extra boost of motivation because of that. But let's take a look at some statistics regarding how body weight makes you feel on average. Articles like this one, published in 2020, found that for every 5 points you jump on the BMI scale above overweight, your probability of being depressed is around 29% higher on average, although mostly in the elderly, who are often more affected by having little muscle mass and more body weight. While the difference in younger adults isn't as visible, because even at high body weights, most people still function pretty decently while they are young. However, this isn't the case for the statistics on other confounding variables, like physical disability and morbidity, in which those with higher body weights tend to do a lot worse, which over time can cause a downward spiral of disease and mental health issues. Now, I'm not saying that those who are skinnier can't also get sick or have mental health issues, because they most certainly do. But being obese definitely extends the list of factors which can make it harder to get started in the gym or get on a diet, and even to feel good in your own skin. And that's without mentioning the potential hormonal impact excess body fat can have, like lower testosterone in men.
If you have more fat on your body, you have more estrogen conversion. So if you produce a certain amount of test and you're fatter, you're going to produce more estrogen than you would normally if you were leaner. So the ratio of estrogen to testosterone becomes more disproportionately favored towards estrogen the more fat you are.
So in actuality, I think we can assume that losing weight is generally gonna be tougher for most people, but that the individual differences between people makes that unreliable. Someone could just as easily say, hey, I struggle to gain weight, or I struggle to lose weight, which should honestly be the primary focus of this conversation anyway, to individually adapt for people to reach their own goals, which is what I do with my coaching. So if you're starting out skinny or fat, I will do my best to ensure that your plans are tailored to your individual needs and goals, because everyone is different, although we're all human. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out my link to the coaching service down below in the description, where I work on a one-to-one basis with every client, and you can sign up today with just a few clicks. Let me know down below in the comments what topics I should cover next, and I want to give you all a massive thank you for the support here on YouTube recently. I always strive to make the best possible content for you guys, and I'm trying to get a longer video like this one out every single week for you to enjoy. Thank you again, and I'll see you all next time.